Let's Talk Bitcoin listeners. It's now time for The Startup. The Startup is a show featuring the founders of new companies. We want to discover how they took an idea and transformed it into a marketable product or service. Starting a business is challenging and rewarding. Our goal is to gain insight into the mind of entrepreneurs on their journey to success. Well, welcome to The Startup. Today I have the CEO of foldapp.com. His name is Matt Luongo. Matt, introduce yourself.
Hey, good to be talking to you guys. Well, I'm Matt Luongo. I run Fold, where we can save you 20% off your coffee when you spend Bitcoin. I'm just excited to be on today.
Okay, well, thanks, Matt. How did you get started in Bitcoin?
Yeah, sure. So I actually got started later than a lot of people. So I got in. Let's see, I first started getting interested in mid-2013 with the price run-up. But really, I had been interested in, I had this like side project with gift cards, years before. Okay. And so I had some downtime, and I realized, the reason the project hadn't gone well is because I didn't have a good way to get paid. Everything that I'd originally tried was crap. So I revisited it and I said, okay, well, what if I tried Bitcoin? So originally I launched cardforcoin.com, which is the sister site to Fold, where we were buying people's gift cards for Bitcoin. And then I got my co-founders on board. We've all worked on startups together before, Chris and Corbin. And we realized that we had this opportunity to let people spend their Bitcoin in stores, not just speculate, but get, concrete value out of using Bitcoin as currency today.
So when you say with gift cards, what gift cards were you accepting in exchange for your service?
So initially we were just buying Starbucks cards. So, we collected a whole ton of them, and we thought it was, fitting that we would also sell them for Bitcoin. And since then we've started buying all sorts of other stuff in preparation for Fold's new brand rollout.
Coffee app is just the first product that you have under the Fold umbrella?
That's exactly right. So the plan is when we publicly launch the mobile app, we'll include Target and Whole Foods support as well. And we've also been working on Walmart, Home Depot, and a couple other brands. To be able to use your app, how would I as a consumer? Sure. The only part we haven't quite nailed down yet is if you don't have Bitcoin, what do you do? For the sake of the discussion, let's just say you've got Bitcoin. Next time you're at Starbucks, you can go to coffee.foldapp.com on your phone, and it'll say, here you can get $5, $10, or $20, and we'll give you 20% off. If you choose, for example, the $10 option, it'll bring up your QR code that says, just spend $8 in Bitcoin, uses the Coinbase exchange rate because most of our users are most familiar with it, and then you just tap the QR code, or for some people, copy the address. That's pretty unfortunate. Ideally, you just tap the barcode. It takes you to your wallet. You press send. You go back to your browser. You'll see a little pulsar, and then you'll see a barcode. And then you order your coffee, scan your phone. Starbucks has these scanners that are kind of facing their customers.
Okay.
And that's it. You paid. There'll be a beep. Your barista will tell you paid. You're ready to go.
That sounds pretty simple.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
A difference from how we work and a lot of other kind of similar apps that people are used to is, I mentioned gift cards earlier, but ideally, people who use our app don't know anything about gift cards. What they know about is that they're spending Bitcoin and saving money. We actually don't make you, if you have a $10 credit and you only spend, say, $6 of that, you can also hit refund and get your change back in Bitcoin.
Okay. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So say, for instance, I'm at Walmart, right? Because you mentioned Walmart is another one of the retailers that you want to bring on. Sure. If I'm at Walmart, how would I scan the QR code? I scan it on their POS reader as well?
That's exactly right, yeah. So with Walmart, it's a little different because some of the Walmart stores have older hardware. Okay. But for most Walmart stores, you're just going to go through. You can't do self-checkout, unfortunately. You have to go through a regular line. And then you just tell the cashier that you've got a voucher, and you show your phone, and they scan it. And then, some Walmarts are older. They'll just type the number in. So either way, the cashier takes it, and you paid.
Well, when do you anticipate these other retailers coming on board as a part of your rollout?
That's the $1 million question. So we really want to nail this first mobile experience. I've been frustrated because I can't wait to release this app, but I want it to be perfect. You know, the plan is it's going to go out this year. It's going to be going out in 2015. What we might have to do is kind of change the feature setup a little bit for some brands so we can make sure that we have enough for people. For example, what we might do to make things a little faster is when we release a new brand initially, we'll only release it to, you know, our early beta testers and kind of do slow rollouts instead of just releasing it to the public. But I'm really excited about, like, I want people to be able to get those discounts for the holidays. So.
Okay. So take advantage of Black Friday's coming up.
That's exactly right.
All right. So you have an Android app available right now?
No. So we just have a web app available right now at coffee.foldapp.com.
Okay.
And the Android app is going to land first.
Okay.
And then we've got an iOS app that's a little further behind.
You spoke a little bit about one of the other team members. Can you tell me a little bit
Sure.
about him?
I'll tell you about my two co-founders. Corbin and I have worked on startups in the past. We worked on another one out of Atlanta called Scholarly. And then since then, we've kind of, you know, just kind of collaborated on projects back since college.
Okay.
So Corbin is a developer and an operations guy and does a little bit of everything. Kind of helps us bring order to the disorder, you know. And then Chris was my CTO. And so, you know, he's got great technical chops. I've also known him since college, and we all love working on projects together. So it was a pretty natural fit.
Okay. Now, are you a developer yourself or no?
Yep. Yeah, we all have a technical background.
So this is your second startup with these two guys as well?
That's right.
Okay. Now, what happened to the first startup?
Originally, the first startup was an academic search engine. So, you know, even in that blurb, you can tell, like, it's really hard to make money in that space. So, you know, we died one of the usual ways. We were light on runway, and we just couldn't do it anymore.
Okay.
We also had some family stuff intervene a little bit.
Okay.
So just pretty typical startup death. But, you know, what we learned from it was, you know, as much as we love building great products for people, and as much as people love great products, if there's not a sustainable economy powering that product, you don't know what's going to happen.
Okay.
And so I think, you know, that was a real lesson we learned is we still love consumer products. You know, we're working on one right now. But first and foremost, we want it to have unit economics that can scale. We don't just want to be, you know, a weekend project.
Got it. Okay. Now, earlier you had mentioned that you started out in Atlanta and now you're out in San Mateo. Are you a part of an incubator out there, or tell me how did you transition?
Sure. So, so we joined Boost VC back at the beginning of February and spent 3 months out here. Boost is run by Adam Draper, Brayton. You know, it's a great team, and basically it's an accelerator that until this last batch has just been focused on Bitcoin. So, yeah, I mean, what we loved about it is that they really understood our business and what we were trying to accomplish, and the connections that they were able to, you know, give us in the industry was really powerful.
Okay, so did you all have to exchange equity as a part of being?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a pretty standard accelerator type deal.
Okay. Now, without getting to the specifics on the funding, if you don't want to, but just walk us a bit through that process of getting funded, and, you know, explain to our listeners, you know, what does getting funded mean? How does the process work, and how do you all navigate it being your first time doing it?
Sure. Yeah. So I'll keep it kind of vague, but while trying to be helpful. So are you thinking? Do you mostly mean like accelerator level or seed level, or, you know, what are you most interested in?
Well, both actually. So say, for instance, well, how did you even find out about VC, Boost VC, and how did they contact you? And then from the standpoint of just doing your due diligence, and what did you discover? How did you evaluate them and all of that?
Sure. So here's kind of our story, right? So we had been through an accelerator at our last company, Beta Spring.
Okay.
up in Providence, Rhode Island. Great group of people. And I wish we could have worked together again. But it's up in Providence. We enjoyed that experience, and we kind of thought maybe this time around we didn't need to do an accelerator, because how these programs, I mean, every program is very different, has a different focus, but a lot of what you get out of the program, at least what we got, was kind of like the sort of stuff that you would get through like a hard knocks business school.
Okay.
We learned a lot of terminology that we needed to run a business, and then different accelerators have different focuses. Like some are very much about the product.
Okay.
And others are for more established businesses. For example, that's a common difference you hear between Techstars and Y Combinator is that YC is going to be a lot more about product. And Techstars is just, typically the people who get in are a little more established.
Okay.
So for us, the reason we chose Boost, originally way back in May of 2014, we actually had a Y Combinator interview. And it went pretty well, except right at the end, I got tripped up and kind of put my foot in my mouth about some regulatory stuff.
Okay.
And we came off sounding, I mean, anyone who runs a Bitcoin company will be familiar with this. Like we just came off sounding a lot riskier than a typical startup.
Okay.
So
okay.
Anyway, so that was kind of a lesson that unless you're talking to someone who's familiar with our space,
right,
it's really hard for them to judge the risk and kind of understand the dynamics. So, after that we said, well, we don't need funding.
Okay.
We have a good business right now. Let's run it. So we did. And the plan was to keep doing that. But, when I talked to the guys from Boost, we just got really excited. They know Bitcoin and they have what I felt like we were missing in Atlanta, which is a deep support network. So in Atlanta, we have our family and our friends. A lot of the people that I want to hire are in Atlanta.
Right.
But what we don't have are BitPay's in Atlanta, but that's it. I don't accidentally run into someone from a big Bitcoin company who can kind of really change my day in Atlanta. We came out here and we did Boost and we're doing the whole West Coast thing just because we're trying to optimize for serendipity. I mean, not that long ago, actually, I had a founder of another big Bitcoin company walking to our office, and I just it was like 9 o'clock at night. I just happened to be one of the last guys there, and I just look up and he goes, "Hey, Matt, what's up? This is perfect. It's 9 o'clock at night. Neither of us are doing anything. I happen to be in the neighborhood." And it gave us an opportunity to talk about a partnership. So it's hard to get that outside of, the Valley and maybe New York.
Yeah, that was one of my questions. Why couldn't you get it going in Atlanta? But you answered that. Yeah. That's great.
What you do have in Atlanta, and what I love about Atlanta, and the reason I'm going to be coming back, is you have the creativity, and you have the people who build things.
Okay.
And so I really like that.
Yeah, one of the things too, specifically about Georgia, is that they have the crowdfund exemption. Are you familiar with that?
A little bit. I know people are excited about it. Probably not enough to speak intelligently about it.
Okay. Yeah, from what I understand, there was an exemption for companies to raise funds for small businesses through the the crowdfunding act. That the federal one hasn't had all the legislation around it, but they've put rules together for Georgia based companies to go ahead and raise funds. So that's a good thing. So just wasn't sure if you were familiar with that or not.
No, that's really exciting. I know everyone's kind of waiting for the SEC to actually do its job here.
So with Boost, is there a term length of how long you're in the accelerator program before you graduate, or how does that work?
Boost is a 3-month program. Either you graduate after 2 months or, really you never graduate, right?
Well, so you mentioned that you're going to be coming back to Atlanta. So that's once you finish this 3-month stint with Boost, then you're headed back this way, and then you'll just...
No. I think it's going to be a little bit longer than that. So first, we already finished our original stint with Boost, and now we are working out of an office nearby. So what I'm thinking is, I think we need to be here as an opportunity to meet with other people in the Bitcoin space,
Okay.
and focus on partnerships and kind of the stuff you have to do at this stage. But I'm still planning on building a lot of the team out in Atlanta, just because I think the talent there is so great.
Now, do you partner with any of the academic institutions in Atlanta to help you find your tech talent, or is it just basically guys that you went to school with and their network and stuff like that?
So officially, no, but all of us went to tech. Yeah, we definitely kind of lean that direction. But yeah, I think it's just at the stage we're at, where we have 4 people full time, 7 people total working on this. You really have to leverage your personal network. And then I think, when you start hitting 15, 20 people, that's when you have to get a little more formal about your hiring process.
So you spoke a bit about how you got involved with Boost VC. Now, From a funding perspective, where are you in that path, and what's next from a funding perspective, or do you even need funds at this point? Investors
sure.
first.
So yeah. The question about whether or not we're going to raise again is a question I'm asking myself, right? We're in a convenient position where we have revenue right now, and we are, able to sustain the business. So, so I guess that's a big question for me that I'm having to think about right now.
Help me with this. So I know that starting a business is hard, and you've had to relocate. And you talked about a bit before with the first startup that you had some personal things going on. What would you say is one of the challenges that you face just with relocating, going out there from Atlanta to San Mateo and getting involved with Boost and VC project? Just what has been, one or two of your hardest challenges?
Sure. Well, I think, the number one drag is leaving my family. My wife's and she definitely couldn't leave mid-year. That's pretty frowned upon. From February until the summer, it was long distance couple.
Okay.
That was really tough. And then I think, this might just, I don't know if this is general advice or not, but for me, when I'm in a new place, if you have something where you're going to meet people, like for us, it was Boost, then that's great. But a lot of the time when you move to a new place, you have to be really motivated, while you're still new, to make friends and network and stuff like that.
Okay.
So luckily, I think Boost helped us a lot with that. And then another one is, when you move, this is my second time moving for the company to do an accelerator. And it's really hard to remember to do things like exercise. And it sounds like it's not that important, when we're talking about like our business and like revenue and growth and all this other stuff. But yeah, I think that's just one of those things where you have to remember to take care of yourself, even if you are moving across the country to start this new thing.
That's some good insight. I appreciate you sharing that. The magic word for this episode is coffee. That's COFFEE. Go to letstalkbitcoin.com and enter the magic word to receive your reward. Now, back to the show. Here's a question that I like to ask founders. What is your other passion? If you had to do something else, what will you be doing now?
Oh, man. So many answers. Let's see. Well, so the honest answer is I would be working on another startup. I've got the bug and, so, but if we get that out of the way,
well, no, but that's fine. So would it be in the same industry, or, are you at liberty to talk about it, or is it just?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think, I've got a whole slew of, other things, right? But, I think right now, I'm a big fan of the industry we're in, because I feel like Bitcoin is at that point where it's really going to start making sense to people.
Okay.
And I don't think that the user interface is there. I don't think, it's just like the early web metaphors, we can't hear enough of that. So I do think it would be hard for me to not work in this particular industry right now, just because of where it is. But I think a lot of people, I think that there are a lot of other industries right now that are kind of like that. Like, we're seeing some really exciting things in biotech. Now I don't have the experience to work on that.
Correct.
But I guess I like to work in a space where I think, it could really improve people's lives, drastically. And I think that Bitcoin represents a serious revolution of finance, and I'm looking forward to being a part of that.
Okay. So if you were to look ahead, say, for the adoption curve of Bitcoin to reach more of a mainstream usage, how much longer do you think we have before we hit that?
You just want to make me a liar.
No. I mean, everybody's wrong, but everybody has an opinion.
No. Yeah, I think right now this is a very interesting time to ask that question, because there are debates about, what is Bitcoin? Is it a settlement network? Is it for payments? I think with what we do, it's pretty clear that we look at it as a currency and a way to pay people.
Okay.
But instead of giving you the prediction you want, I'm going to say that if Bitcoin is going to succeed as a currency, what we need to do, people say, like, focus on use cases and all this stuff. Maybe that's true, but the thing that I think we need the most is we need to provide an actual consumer grade user experience. Right now, if you use Bitcoin, you can't avoid these 32 digit strings that you are constantly looking at, and these transaction hashes and all sorts of long alphanumeric strings. And that's not if I'm trying to convince my mom to get into Bitcoin, that's not going to do it. Right.
Bitcoin needs a AOL friendly app. You know what I mean? What AOL did for the internet.
I think that's apt. I think it needs that initial friendly, and it might not be the best, but it needs that initial layer. I mean, I'm really excited, for example, about what Netkey's done, because I think the Bitcoin addresses are atrocious. And I can't wait to see them replaced, or at least kind of covered over and left for developers. Yeah, I even think, it's funny because as we built our own Bitcoin payment interface, we realized that there are a lot of problems that it seems like should be solved, even from our relatively informed perspective, that aren't. For example, if an app pays, if someone uses their wallet to pay us, we need a refund address. And that's not a universally solved problem in Bitcoin payments right now. Only, some percent of wallets are able to give you that. Another issue we had until we started processing our own payments was that almost every payment processor really punishes a user if they send the wrong amount of Bitcoin. Okay. So if you send the wrong amount, for most processors, your money kind of goes into this limbo, and you're going to have to reach out to customer support. But I mean, imagine if we did that at a coffee shop with cash. Right. That would be a real problem. And I think related to all that, it's really hard for people, for example, at POS systems. If you do go to a coffee shop and they do accept Bitcoin, the people who run the coffee shop, they don't really know what's going on. It's pretty opaque. And so, I think that's just the other side of user experiences, both for the retailer and for the consumer. It's still pretty rough.
Well, I know you've heard about the block size debate. Where do you stand on that? And having a vested stake in this, did it concern you when the Bitcoin XT was proposed as a fork?
Yeah. So as someone who holds Bitcoin, it certainly concerned me. From the perspective of our business, the way we went about this, if it's not Bitcoin and if it's Bitcoin XT, we can work just as well with Bitcoin XT. So from the business perspective, I wasn't that worried. I just feel like we need to stay on top of it. I definitely think that that Bitcoin can continue to be a payment network, and that's what I would like to strive for. I think that there are a lot of compelling arguments on both sides. And, I feel like, Peter Todd actually came to Boost VC, and he kind of gave his pitch before everything was at this, as fevered as it is now. He kind of pitched us on some security issues that he saw with Bitcoin. And he was talking partially about block size. And he had me convinced that, the block size needs to stay small. But then the more and more I thought about it, the other side has a lot of really good arguments too. So I think what really needs to happen is we need to chill out. I think that, right now Bitcoin has the opportunity to really capture mainstream attention. We're already seeing a lot. We're seeing things from banks, obviously, from Fidelity, recently we heard some rumblings. And I think that we kind of need to get it together and stop squabbling. And I think efforts like the Scaling Bitcoin conference are really going to help us kind of focus on, look, this is an engineering problem first.
Right.
And that we need to kind of keep a unified face when we're talking to people outside the community.
Now, I have one other question for you on the Fold application. Do you ever plan on accepting other cryptocurrencies besides Bitcoin?
Oh, that's a good question. So I think what Eric has done, Eric Voorhees has done with Shapeshift is really cool.
Right.
So we've considered doing something like that. On the flip side, more than anything, we want this user experience to be good, and adding more currencies is not going to improve the user experience. So I think my stance right now is, I really want to focus on getting this right. And, if we think that we're in that direction, I mean, it's a moving target, but if we think we're close, then I'm totally open to having like an advanced mode, because really how I see the world is we should always be able to spend anything. There's no reason you shouldn't be able to spend your airline miles, to get coffee. So yeah, I'm all for it. I have no idea when we'll do it.
Okay. Now, other than Bitcoin, are you all going to issue like your own cryptocurrency that can be exchanged for like loyalty points or anything like that with the Fold app?
Right. So we've been approached by people who wanted to do that a few times.
Okay.
And we did consider it, but I think where we stand right now is Bitcoin is already a great denomination for rewards points. And the whole premise, I think, of our company, kind of the core of what we're doing, is we're taking these underutilized assets and giving them to people in store so that they can spend them. And I think I don't really want to give people an asset that they're not going to spend.
Okay.
So the idea of like making a Fold reward coin kind of rubs me the wrong way. When we could just give out Bitcoin as a reward.
All right, that makes sense. You spoke about having a rollout to a limited number of people.
Yep.
Are you still accepting invitations for people to sign up to be a part of that rollout initiative?
Absolutely. So if you go to foldapp.com and drop in your email, you will be on the list. If you reach out to us, if you're really excited, the people we hear from are typically the people we bring in first.
Okay.
So yeah, by all means, you can check out coffee.foldapp.com and actually spend at Starbucks.
Will do. And actually, I was going to say is there a standard 20% discount on each Starbucks purchase?
Yeah, so every Starbucks purchase, you save 20% across the board.
Okay. Now that's easy to do, listeners. I know you all drink a lot of coffee out there. Those Starbucks, they pretty full.
Yeah, so Starbucks gets a lot more affordable after that 20% discount. So
absolutely. 5 cups and it's a free coffee.
That's right.
Right. Anything else you want to share with the listeners, Matt, before we let you go?
Check out the app. And if you tweeted us or whatever, we'll pay for your first coffee. So do that.
Well, great, Matt. Tell us how people can reach you.
Sure. Yeah. So on Twitter, we're, Fold_app. We're also on Facebook. And, just reference that Matt said he'd give away free coffee, and you'll get it. So.
And your website again for everyone?
Oh, yeah, of course. For Starbucks, it's coffee.fullbap.com. And if you want to get in on the beta for Target and Whole Foods, put in an email at fullbap.com.
Well, good. Well, Matt, we definitely appreciate your time. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Startup. Contents for the show was provided by Matt and Mike. If you are a founder of a startup and would like to appear on the show, please email Mike Payer, that's MikePair @gmail.com to schedule an interview. Also now we can be found in the iTunes store. Please search for The Startup Pair. That's The Startup Pair.